So pretty much Monday starts out with Max Shard on cross-examination with Detective Gaither. Pretty much right out the gate, Gaither is not rocking with Max Shard at all. Really, the one of the first conversations that they were about to have, or he was trying to get into, Shard was about the vehicle that D'Angelo White and Dexter Montgomery was in, and Neil Cornelius. So the so Shard is, and we can see this early. We know it's about to go sideways. Shard is like the blue car that Dexter Montgomery was in, and Gaither is like, you mean the victim's car? He's like, okay, is that what you call it? She's like, that's what it is. It's the victim's car. He was like, okay, well, can we call it the blue car? She was like, no, it's the victim's car. So that was like minutes into the cross-examination. So we already see that this thing is really about to go sideways, but we just don't know how sideways it's going to go. We just can tell that Gaither has let all of her bias out. So anything that I said, like in the previous weeks about Gaither, let me read what Paris said, because I see she got why. He not going to do it, man. I got more info on the last mistrial he did. The man got out of jail and killed people. That's what I heard. Oh, wow. Wow, okay. Paris, put a pin in what you just said, Paris. I'm going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that because I got something about that, right? So listen. So we know that Gaither and Shard, they kind of going at it, right? So they going through it, and once again, they still talking about so last week or the week before, I said that I felt like Gaither was making a good impression, or at least some impression or impact on the jury, because she didn't seem as biased as as Belknap. She really seemed indifferent. That's how she gave off to me, because with the monotone voice and just answering questions matter-of-factly, it didn't seem too biased. But as soon as Shard got up there, you seen her bias immediately, right? I'm talking about minutes into, this is Monday morning. The first examination that we get Monday morning, this lady is sideways, right? Is going sideways. So Gaither is up there, they're talking about D'Angelo White, and mainly what Shard was getting at was that D'Angelo White told Gaither that he didn't see who was the shooter. Like he couldn't see who the shooter was, dark, but he just knew he knew what side of the car it came from, but he didn't know who was doing it, right? And then of course they played a tape where it's like where he's telling her he couldn't tell, but he just knew it came from this side of the car. And Shard is like, he told you this, yet you still wrote on this piece of paper that he identified Walter Murphy as the shooter. Well, first they went through this whole thing of you knew that he was in the passenger side of the car. You knew Walter Murphy was in the passenger side of the car. She's like, I never said passenger side. I said the shots came from a passenger seat. He was like, okay, but you knew Walter Murphy wasn't on the driver's side. You knew he was in the passenger seat, and there was somebody behind the driver. Yet he holds up the piece of paper. He says, somehow you wrote on here that D'Angelo White identified Walter Murphy as the shooter. And then this is where, in a courtroom, all hell broke loose. She was like, and somehow you trying to forget the fact that members of YSL shot this boy in the head. And then, let's listen to the clip of it, because it's crazy. It's a crazy clip, and we need to it needs to be heard because it's a wild one. Give me a second to pull this thing up here. Let me find my footing real quick. Let me get myself together, y'all. I'm gonna pull up this clip with Gaither going bad. She went bad on the track. Here we go. Let me see. What is this? Let me see. What's that right there? No, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me see here. Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to pull up this video because I do want us to listen to it together as a class. I want us as a class to listen to it. Okay. There we go. Let's listen to what Gaither had to say on this here stand. Here we go.
Anyone pulled out a gun? on people in the silver Pontiac, correct?
I believe he did.
Okay. And D'Angelo White's response was, we had guns and shit.
Wrong video. My bad, people. Give me a second. I went to clip 2 somehow. I don't know how I did that. Okay, here we go.
Like, did the person, which side of the car did they lean out to shoot?
It had to be either on, it couldn't be from the goddamn, it couldn't be from the passenger side or from the back passenger side. It had to be either, it couldn't be the driver neither, it had to be the person behind the driver.
Thank you. From your investigation, Walter Murphy was sitting in the passenger side, correct?
Best of my recollection, yes.
Okay, and you just heard D'Angelo White, that was D'Angelo White's statement, correct?
Yes.
And he said it couldn't be the passenger side. It could not be the passenger side, correct?
I did not say it was the passenger side that the vehicle was shot. I said the passenger. He stated the shots came from the driver's side. I stated it could not have been the passenger side. It had to be the passenger, not the passenger side of the vehicle, is what I stated.
Mr. Murphy was seated in the passenger front, according to your investigation, correct?
And also according to Mr. Murphy, yes.
And Mr. White just said on tape, it couldn't have come from the passenger side, correct?
If you go to his interview inside our vehicle, he also stated he did not believe it was the driver. It came from the driver's side, but he did not believe that it was the actual driver. Okay. It was someone from the passenger. Sir, are you going to let me answer?
Yes.
Okay. He stated he did not believe it was the driver because he didn't think the driver could drive and shoot a gun. He stated that it had to have been the passenger. I didn't say the passenger side of the vehicle. I said the passenger.
And there's a third person in the car, in the back seat, correct?
Correct, which...
And that was not Walter Murphy, was it?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and somehow that statement has become you writing down that he identified Walter Murphy as the shooter.
And somehow you're trying to get away from the fact that members of YSL shot this boy in the head. Whether it's a report...
That was hectic. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That was hectic. How did y'all feel when y'all seen that? Tell me how y'all felt when y'all first seen when y'all heard Gaither say, and you trying to get away from the fact that members of YSL shot this boy in the head. I just wonder what the jury was thinking. Just hearing that's jarring right there. That's like, whoa, that stands out because it's like, that could go either way. Now, we as people who feel like we are properly interpreting this case and the law and all that, it's fine that we think one way about it. But we got to think, what does the jury think when they hear something like that? Is the jury thinking, like a lot of people would be thinking and saying, yeah, y'all right. Y'all trying to get away from the fact that they shot him in the head. A jury, like most normal people, would think like that. So we gotta think not as us trying to interpret the law. We got to think about what would a jury think. Okay. So and the problem with that is why it's rough on this case as a defense is the fact that the guys involved already took deals in this case. And the guys involved already said they already admitted to them being YSL back then because this was a gang case back then and they admitted to doing it back then. So arguing against it at this point is very difficult because it's hard to argue against this particular incident. The whole thing really should be about they were convicted for this already and they're trying to be punished again for the same exact thing. I feel like that should be the focus, but I guess maybe the judge is going to stop them from doing that probably for whatever objection will probably come for that. I don't know, but I wanted to show that just to show how that was pretty early in the testimony in the direct examination. Like, the defense didn't examine her for as long as I expected them to, and it's probably because they wanted to hurry up and get her off the stand. I think that And y'all could agree with me. They can't say that till closing arguments. I figured it was something like that. But y'all might disagree with me, and I have seen people disagree with me, but I think that her testimony has been extremely effective on as far as for the state. I feel like this is the first witness. Remember, I had predicted that Belknap would be like a great expert witness and dual witness, expert and fact witness for the state. But when he got up there, he I don't think he was at all. He didn't do that good of a job. But when I look at Gaither from the beginning of her testimony, even to how she responded to the defense, she seemed like her whole opposition to the defense wasn't because I just don't like rich black people and I don't like the fact that they got away and all this. It seems like she's on some, I just care about the victims and y'all should do the right thing and lock these people up for doing the wrong thing. Like that's the whole angle that it seemed like she came at it from. So I feel like this has been the most effective witness that the state has had yet in 6 months that this trial been going on, or 7 months, whatever that has been going on. I think that's why I think the defense was so quick. The state took like a week with this lady, like 5 days with this lady, and the defense took a few hours. Like Shard went up there for, it felt short to me, like a 2 hours maybe, and then Brian Steele came up after lunch, and it felt short also. Let's get into another clip, the one that I was about to start playing just now, where so Shard is asking her a question like, "Yo, D'Angelo White said we had guns in the car," and then he asked her, "Is we plural? Like, do you know what we means?" So let's get into it because she didn't like that at all, and the state didn't like it, and the judge felt like it was out of place also. Let me pull that one up. Let's see here. Let's pull this one up here.
Anyone pulled out a gun?
Oh. Give it a second, y'all.
On people in the Silver Pontiac, correct?
I believe he did.
Okay. And D'Angelo White's response was, "We had guns and shit," correct?
Yes, he did say that, and it was more to that as well.
We had guns and shit.
Yes, he stated that.
Okay. We being plural, correct? Correct?
Are you insulting my intelligence by asking if we means plural? I think you are, though.
Okay.
I think you are.
All right. Well,
Sir, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. She was letting it be known she is for sure against what the defense is doing right now. Even the we thing is, and we heard Attorney Love do that with people that came up there too. She kind of said things that was very insulting to their intelligence. Let me read some of these comments real quick because I think they're important. It said she was extremely discredited when the defense examined her, especially as it pertains to reports. I agree that she was discredited, but I don't believe it was for that reason, though. I think she was only discredited a little bit, but I do think she was kind of discredited a little bit, but I don't think it was based on the reports. And pretty much that was another big thing that Max Shard spent time dealing with. So and then eventually Max Shard moved on to this whole Kenneth Copeland thing. And it was like, so you as a detective in this case, pretty much you were investigating and you got in contact, or Kenneth Copeland got in contact with you. You were investigating, you were getting information on him about an actual murder case, right? And he had your phone number. He would call you multiple times. You guys had multiple conversations from whatever they said, January of 2015 to whatever month they said, like June, right? So they were having multiple conversations back and forth, but she did not make any reports she didn't record any of the conversations. She didn't make any reports about the conversation, and she couldn't tell the defense what they talked about. And Shard asked her a bunch of times in a bunch of different ways, what did you talk to him about? Pretty much, what were you talking about? Why is there no reports for it? He wasn't even really saying what we talking about. He kept asking, where's the report for that? Why is there no report? If this is official police business, what were y'all talking about that it couldn't be reported? And actually, why wouldn't it be reported? So she kept like, and I don't even understand this whole thing where he asked her, did you do any work on the Donovan Thomas murder case? She said no. But then a little bit after that, she said she went to the McDonald's to find to see if she can get the surveillance video of the murder incident. So she definitely got made to be like a liar in that on the cross-examination for sure. But when I say that when I say that she was a good a witness for the state, I'm just talking about impact on the jury. I feel like what she was saying was extremely impactful to the jury. Now, the biggest thing that I feel like got her, that made her look like the biggest liar to me, was the thing with the emails with Brian Steele. That to me stood out. Now, I don't know how much everybody else weighed that, but that stood out. Let me read some of these comments real quick because I remember a good one. Pear says something. Okay, Steele might have made one of the biggest mistakes in the case when he mistakenly objected. Adams was supposed to cross her, and that's a fact. I remember they argued about that, and but they went up to the judge when they had that argument, so we didn't actually get to hear what happened. But they definitely said Keith Adams was supposed to be cross-examining her, and I guess because Brian Steele made that objection, it forced Brian Steele to have to do the cross-examination. I do think he should have let Keith Adams handle that one. That was supposed to be his witness. So if she cares about the victim, how come she and the prosecution told the victim about the plea deal? How come she or okay, I don't fully realize what you're saying. Her doing that in front of the jury will bite the prosecution in the backside. You think so? That was a great point, but they had guns in the other car. Yeah, Shard did bring up the fact that D'Angelo White said they had guns. My whole thing about trying to relitigate that case, meaning to make it look like maybe Bentley felt like he was being robbed and all that. My whole thing with that is that's not making a good argument because it's already proven that these guys admitted to doing it. It's already on video that these guys admitted to doing it. It's already on video that the people from the car Dexter Montgomery was in, Cornelius, that guy Neil, the driver walked up to Tina Clark, I think her name was Clark, right? And told her it was no threat. We wasn't trying to drive crazy behind y'all. That's just how we drive. We wasn't following y'all or nothing like that. So it's already in evidence that all of this stuff happened, right? And I'm not saying that everybody should just believe it. I'm saying that it's a difficult thing for the defense to try to like rehash this thing as if we can throw some reasonable doubt in there that YSL had anything to do with it. The YSL members that were involved in it already admitted to doing it and admitted that they were in YSL at that time. So that whole like, hey, we don't really know what happened at the gas station, they have to throw that out the window. I think that's the reason why the defense wanted to get that lady off the stand so fast, because they don't want that case, to be. Excuse me, y'all. All right, so let me get back into it. So what was I talking about here? So then Max Shard, he goes through a bunch of more stuff about why don't you have reports? Where are the reports? I liked it. It felt like TV show. Like, where are the reports? Why don't you have them? What did you do with them when you left the police department? All of this. Now, has anybody done enough research on this lady to know what she does for a living now? When I was listening to it and I was just trying to gather, and from listening to people tell me that she got fired and forced to retire and all that, like, is she a truck driver? Because that's the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting the vibe that this lady is currently a CDL truck driver. Over the road. She says she work on the road. I'm just listening to the voice. She just got like a truck driver voice to me. You understand what I'm saying? So Ms. Gaither, Lakia Gaither, if you are, I'm sure you watch the videos that are being made about this trial. Tap in, get in the comments, let us know what's going on, why you said that, and let's do an interview. Whatever you want to do. If you're a truck driver, you definitely watch it. Either you're watching this one, you watching Seti Nash, you watching Megan Cunniff, you watching somebody. I know you are. Come on, y'all got a lot of time on your hands. I just put truck driver on her like that's really her job or something, but I just feel like she is. She a security guard for a WNBA team in Atlanta. How y'all find that out? That's crazy. But that's actually interesting though, because what's my man's name? Detective Quinn and his partner, they have a business where they do security for the Atlanta Hawks. So that's cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded. Okay. I'm seeing the play with the police, with the Atlanta Police Department. So they all left. So we all right, we done roughing gangs up. Now we're gonna go over and get this NBA, WNBA money. Okay. I see what they got going on here.